Hello out there, and welcome back to Straight from the Fridge. I'm Chris,
Mark.
and yeah, we haven't made a video in about a week due to illness, but back in action, baby.
How you feeling, by the way? I know you're out of commission for a while there.
Yeah, I feel fine. It's just like I've had a cough for like 3 weeks,
Damn.
so like the cold part went away within a week, and I've just been like coughing for 2 weeks.
Well, I
So
remember at the end of when we were hanging out at the end, you were coughing a little bit there at the end of the
yeah,
day.
well, yeah, it just came like roaring back, but the cold part was done. It's just my throat was just crazy. So I
Brutal.
couldn't talk too well, so we couldn't do this video, but now we're back. So
Between this video and the and that Ween video we did, we actually met up here and saw a Raptors game, which was pretty cool.
we did. We watched them tie the franchise winning record, which
Which
they've since gone on to beat.
damn
So
right, damn right.
it's all uncharted territory from here on out.
And while you're up here, we actually hit a few record shops, and
We did
we got a few things, so we thought we'd share our recent pickups.
pickups. So the first place we went to was Sonic Boom in Toronto. I don't know if you can see that Sonic Boom. Um, and it never fails really to come up with something. Pretty much they have whatever you're looking for, and even stuff you're not looking for really. Because man, I walk out of there with stuff I don't even plan to pretty much all the time. So who wants to start this off?
Go for it. Go for it.
Alrighty. So they have these bins kind of when you walk in that are stuff that's recently come in, trade-ins, and I found a couple gems. The first one I found was Pretty Ugly Volume One, which is
Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting that one as well. We both kind of passed on it at first, and then
we did, and then I kind of went back and scooped it. But yeah, it says Ultrax 100% Wild Aussie Beat and Punk from 1964 to 1967.
I was
And
sold on that Wild Aussie Punk sentence. That's
yeah,
what I
well,
was.
it's funny because I spun it the other day and it's actually not that wild. Like, yeah, because bands from the 60s and like the States, like the Chocolate Watch Band or the Standells or the Sonics are like way more crazy than these guys. But it's a good record. It's a good compilation. And I
Sonics,
paid, what's that?
the Sonics rule.
Oh, yeah, the
I
Sonics
just
one
had
of
to
my,
throw that in there.
but in 9.99. So, I figured it was worth a tenner to pick it up and see what was on it. And it's good stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm glad you
that's
remembered that because I kind of passed on it at the beginning, and I was it's one of those ones I was gonna keep in the back of my mind, but I kind of forgot about it till you picked it up at the end, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, forgot about that one.
like I said, what I do is I usually pull the stuff I'm interested in and pull it to the front. That way, when I walk back out, I see it again if I kind of like mulling it over.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get another one. I'll show you here in a sec. I was like pretty much guaranteed to get it, but I saw that one. I'm like, it's worth the $10. Do you want to show one?
Okay. Well, at Sonic Boom, I only got one. I saw a bunch of stuff, but I just never really pulled the trigger on it. But
Passed on the
this
Turtles
is
Time soundtrack.
yes, I still want that, but I don't know. It's just a little pricey for what it is for me.
It is pricey.
But this one, I saw it at the beginning and put it back and kind of thought about it. But then for the price and everything, I had to get it. It's BB King live at the Cook County Jail.
Which is classic.
It's a
Have you
classic
spun
album.
it?
It's a really great album. This particular press is pretty thin vinyl. Like it was like putting a
Yeah.
feather on the turntable because it was
Well,
in
it's
that
on
era.
Pickwick, isn't it?
What's that?
It's on the Pickwick label.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
so that was like a budget reissue kind of thing, right?
yeah, yeah. This is not original, I don't think. And
No, the original has that denim cover I was telling you about.
yeah, because this is denim. This doesn't actually have the textured. It's just
Yeah.
regular. It's pretty good. I only spun the first side of it so far, but it was pretty funny with the where they announced the sheriff and he
The
comes out and
sheriff,
everyone
yeah.
boos him.
I know, and then you hear like a clear edit, so I don't know what happened, but I
Yeah,
always thought that was pretty funny. And
also kind
even
of
on
funny.
that, oh, go ahead.
I was reading that they invited him to come do this show at the jail, and originally he wasn't even going to record it. He was just going to go, and they said, "Well, you should, bring some recording gear and record it." And good
Right.
thing he did because it turned out to be, a pretty legendary performance, right?
Well, he actually has a couple live albums that are just killer. Like there's Live at the Regal. which is
Yeah.
another like just stellar BB. I actually like BB King better, like on the live album as opposed to the studio stuff.
Yeah, me
Some
too.
of the studio stuff's a bit more sterile.
Same with James Brown. Like the Live at the Apollo album is like my
Well,
favorite James Brown album.
as it fights for the top spot of my favorite albums of all time.
It is
So,
a great album.
and it's just one of those albums that you basically you put the needle on or you put the CD on and hit play, and when the album finishes, you just hit play again. Like it's just so good.
Did you get anything else at Sonic Boom?
I did. I actually got a few at Sonic Boom here. Let me just go through my pile here. Here, I got three more, but this is the one I was for sure going back to grab. Uh, Kevin Drew's Darlings, which is his, I believe, second solo album, and yeah, it's a lot more mellow than like the Broken Social Scene stuff, but just overall, I'm gonna say Broken Social Scene, potentially my favorite band at the moment, but that could change whenever. But this is just like a really chilled out, relaxed album. Um, Came out in 2014, and for the $13, I couldn't say no. Also, I don't know if there's different colors of this or not, but I really like the color on the vinyl here. Hopefully, it'll show up. It's kind of
Oh,
like
nice.
clear pink, which is nice. But overall, it's just a really mellow, kind of chill album, which, you know, now that I'm getting old, every now and again I like to just chill out and have a coffee or a beverage and listen to some mellow music.
It's a good
Uh,
score for the price.
oh well, yeah, well, like $13. I mean,
Can't go wrong.
I was like a couple cups of coffee at Starbucks these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And lastly, what I got at Sonic Boom, I always go for like the cheapy bins because you can always pull out just like wild stuff. And every now and again you hit a gem. So the Third Man Live, you can see that logo there, is a series that I like where they basically just get bands in and they cut them live to tape. And
Is that the Third Man label? Like,
yeah, it's the Third
yeah.
Man label. And so Broken Social Scene actually has one coming up at the end of this month coming out, which I can't
I
wait
think they have
for.
some videos on YouTube of those live performances and stuff too.
I believe they do, yeah. Um, there was the one with Sleep, which unfortunately they released as like a triple, which was I didn't get my hands on it. But this is the Dex Romwember duo.
Nice.
Uh, Dex Romwember was in the band Flat Duo Jets back in the '80s, and basically without the Flat Duo Jets, you don't have the White Stripes. He's like, from what I've read, he's Jack White's hero, and Jack White actually produced this. And haven't spun this yet, but it's going to be just some pretty wild rock and roll cut live. Also, I just remembered now, I did get one more at Sonic Boom in the 45 area. I always kind of dig, and again, I like to go through the cheap bin, and I picked up uh, the Most Serene Republic 7-inch paired with the headlights. I think it's just on black vinyl, but basically anything on the Arts and Crafts label, I'll pick up. It's the label co-owned by Kevin Drew from Broken Social Scene. So this was
Sounds
a
like
dog.
you're in a bit of a what do you call that? A phase with Kevin Drew and Broken Social Scene recently.
Well, I don't know. It's just that style of music that that Arts and Crafts puts out. Like it's indie, but it's a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more older. You know, it's not so wild anymore. But when we get to wild, I'll have a record to show you here in a minute. But that's pretty much my haul from Sonic Boom.
Damn,
On
you
that,
did pretty good.
yeah, I think we did all right.
Okay, so the next place we went to was Cops.
Cops Queen
Also,
Street.
and this one kind of shows a bit of the age difference because I don't think you ever really got into these guys. Maybe you're a bit
No,
older.
it's funny because this I kind of see in the corner there. This was one of the first bands that I just didn't get. Like I remember when they came out and they kind of blew up, and I was just like, I don't understand how this is music. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just
Which
like
is
the
weird
guy.
because you did like metal and stuff at the time, which is
I
this is a
I
bit in
did, and it's funny because when that came out, I really liked Dallas Green's vocals, and I was like, why don't they just get Dallas to sing? Then of course he
But he
goes
did
to
more on the later albums. On the later albums, he did. On this one, it is a lot of George screaming,
yeah,
which I kind of dig. This is their first album. It's actually kind of cool because this is a gatefold and has this
nice,
nice picture. Because the cover always had the girls in the knife.
yeah, with the knife, yeah,
Probably Burlington, I think, where they're from, or St. Catharines, sorry, where they're from.
right,
It's pretty cool press though. This is uh, two discs at 45 RPM. So there's like two songs per side,
right,
but
yeah,
it's really good quality,
a
and the
little bit better
price was
sound
actually crazy.
quality.
What's that?
At 45, it's a little bit better sound quality wise.
Yeah, I did spin the first disc, and it was really good. Like sound quality was excellent, and the price
Right.
was crazy because I've been after this one for a while. This particular one with the two discs, and it's always over $30, and this was $22, I think it was, brand new, which was pretty crazy.
Cops, man, like cops, yeah, like cops in Oshawa, cops in Toronto. They've got the best prices of vinyl. Period. You know, like
Yeah,
you'll
like
pull just crazy gems out of there.
I was kind of disappointed they didn't have Watch Out because I would have bought that instantly too. Like, because this
Right.
album, Watch Out, I always kind of flop back and forth between which one is my favorite. But this album was pretty big for me in my youth. This came out I think around 2003, and I remember watching the video for Pulmonary Archery on I think it was like the Punk Show or the Wedge. Remember back they had those like
Oh yeah,
themed
yeah, the wedge. Yeah, I
shows.
forgot.
I don't know, just the performance in that and everything, and back then we weren't sure if they were called Alexis on Fire or Alex is on Fire, because there's always debate at the schoolyard about that one. But it was also cool that they're Canadian and they were from around the same area that
Yeah,
we're from. And
well,
I
it's
love
fun.
this song front to back. It has a lot of nostalgia for me, but I still love it front to back. I'll spin it any day.
But Sum 41 is actually more closer to us.
True.
And I actually know a guy who I went to school with a guy who used to be in the band, but I don't know. Did they ever click for you?
Some 40, not really. Like they have some okay songs or whatever, but
Yeah,
I never bought their albums or anything like that.
I think they're okay, but yeah, there's nothing really that jumped out.
To me, I was
Just
more of a
like
fan of Billy Talent, who was around the same area, Canadian band, and they had some really good songs. The
yeah,
first album was pretty
the
good.
first couple albums by Billy Talent is classic,
Yeah,
and the band name is a reference to my all-time favorite movie, Hardcore Logo.
hardcore logo.
So anyway, so I'll go with this one first. I've been looking for this for quite a long time, and it just never turned up. And of course, I probably could have ordered it online, but that's not how I roll unless I really, really want something. But it's Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti, and the album is called Before Today.
I remember you're after that as Sonic Boom, but they didn't have it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just got so many like the whole album in a just world would be like the White Album. Like so many good songs on this album, it's insane. But the song that got me into Ariel Pink just in the first place was a song called Fright Night, which you should look it up. But man, this record is just killer from front to back. And yeah, Cops had it for $25, and I was like, well, when in Rome. So nice to add to my collection.
Nice. I don't know. I don't really know them very well. I haven't really listened to much of them, so I don't know. I can't really comment on them, but I'm glad you found it. I know you're after it.
He's just like a really great songwriter, you know, like, and some of his stuff's a little weird and out there, but I kind of enjoy that. But he just he has this flair for like the pop hook, and you're listening to these songs and they're just like one after another just stick in your head.
Yeah.
And there's a million albums by him. Like there's a bunch of like home tapes that they eventually released on vinyl, which eventually I'll probably uh, pick them up. But yeah, he's just good. And he also had a little bit of input on MGMT's new album, Little Dark Age, which I absolutely
You-
love.
Yeah, you like that one. That's the one with
Love,
me and Michael on it, right?
yeah, me and Michael. Um, when You Die is the one with Ariel Pink on it.
Nice.
But yeah, that whole album front to back is just like amazing.
So you got one more album, or?
What's
Yeah, I
that?
got one more. You
Yeah,
have one?
I have two more.
Okay. All right. Do one more then, and then I'll do mine. You can finish
All
off.
right. So before I even went up to Toronto, the night before, or maybe 2 nights before, I went up to Oshawa and was just kind of killing time at the mall. And I was looking at the record store in the mall there, and came across Power Trip's Nightmare Logic, which this album was just ferocious. It actually came out. Trying to find a date on it. Um, Not sure when it came out actually. It doesn't say, but it's on the Southern Lord label, and I'm late to the party on these guys because I think this came out a few years ago. But it's just like ferocious thrash metal. Like it's just, and it's one of those records that as soon as I heard it, I was like, shit, I missed the boat on these guys because these guys are killer. And then of course I look online and everybody's like, Power Trip are the best band in the world. But
Is it reminiscent of like 80s kind of Metallica or something like that,
yeah,
or
it's got like that and like a bit of like Anthrax and DRI, but it's always like it's like heavier, you know? It's a lot more aggressive and fierce.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, and I like I said, as soon as I was watching um, a YouTube video by Banger TV, which is Sam Dunn, the guy who did that Metal Headbangers Journey movie.
Yeah.
So they had like a two-part show of like the best metal albums of the tens, and this was on there.
Oh,
And they played a clip, and it was just like so like
the
the
light
next.
bulb went off.
Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of technical issues, but we're back. But anyway, I was just saying that Power Trip, awesome album.
Way to wrap it up there.
Hey, you know, I was on a roll there, and then the feed cut, so hard to get back into the energy. But let's get it.
The last one's for me. This is an internet pickup actually that arrived recently. This one again probably shows a bit of the age difference. This is Blink-182's first album, Cheshire Cat. It's only one disc, but it has a gatefold with some pretty cool stuff on the inside.
It's a very like no effect sounding album
It
because
is.
I own this.
Do you?
And,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah, and they hadn't yet found their Blink charm, you know.
Yeah, the poppy. Well, there is pop on this, but it is a lot more rooted in the punk element, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely got that like Fat Records kind of sound, which I'm assuming that's what they were like listening to anyway.
Well,
But
they were big fans of like the Descendants and shit like that, and the California kind of punk scene. Uh,
right,
this one's actually interesting because Scott Rayner's on it. I think you can see him down here. He's the original drummer. I think he's on this one and Dude Ranch
yeah, he's on Dude Ranch as well. Yeah,
before they
which is funny
booted
because
him.
Dude Ranch is like my favorite album by them. So
Is it?
yeah, I just feel like that's where they basically hit their stride, and then there's a couple good songs after that, but Dude Ranch for me is the home run anyway.
This album always has some charm to it because of I don't know, just it came out in like '95, I think, and it's just that '90s like pop punk. It's same with Green Day. Like I'm not a big fan of Green Day, American Idiot onward, but the '90s stuff was pretty good. They still have a bit of the comedy on here too. Like Depends is about pissing yourself and wearing diapers and stuff. So
So
they've always had that comedy.
it still had that.
This era was pretty cool because Tom DeLonge could barely fucking play guitar live, but he had like a charm to it. Like he was so bad at playing that it was awesome, you know.
Right.
On the albums, the guitar was cleaned up a lot. They probably did like 30,000 takes to get it right, but
Or it could have been somebody else.
could have been. It's not a bad album. Carousel and M&M's on here are the two that kind of stand out and have, they're on the greatest hits later on and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great album. I got this one for a pretty good price, so I had to pick it up. It's the only one I have on vinyl, actually. But yeah, it's a great album. I think I didn't know you actually had it. I was gonna say if you were ever to get into them, I think this would probably be the album or Dude Ranch that you'd probably
Yeah.
get to them.
No, like Dude Ranch is the one because, like I said, That album there, it just sounds like a low rent No Effects to me. Like it just,
Yeah.
and it's cool that they got better and they made better songs, but I don't know. I wouldn't call that great.
I wouldn't say it's great. I like it. It's good. It has a lot of charm to it for me.
Yeah.
And it has like I wouldn't call it punk really. Like it is more of a pop thing, but it has the spirit of punk. I feel like there's like that. We're gonna play what we want and do it how we want.
Scrappiness.
And the singing is like pretty much god awful on it, which is also kind of cool because it's in that kind
Yeah.
of punk spirit, I would say.
And if
Uh,
anything, I wonder if those are the guys who brought like the kind of whining singing that became so big afterwards.
I think
Because
yeah,
Tom DeLonge is definitely like one of the whiniest singers
yeah.
like on that album. Has that kind of sound.
He does, and people like it's like a meme now. They're like that. Where are you? Fucking
Right.
everyone does that online. But it's weird because I generally don't like that. Like I detest Simple Plan and a lot of those bands. But for some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's just the nostalgia of growing up with these guys. But
But it's the
I
originators.
always liked it. What's that?
They're the originators. So
Yeah.
you get down with the originals, but all the other ones you're just like,
Well, even No Effects, even though I kind of grew up in that era too, I never really dug them as much. Or even Green Day, which they're okay, but I never dug them as much. I always like these guys better than when those bands, but um, yeah. But
but no,
that's what it is.
yeah. Hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I got one last record, and it's a 12-inch single off an album, and I was just happy to find something because I've been looking for years, and of course I could have went on eBay or I could have went on Discogs or whatever and found it, but I like to find stuff in the wild. And big Minor Threat fan, big Ministry fan. So if you're ever curious as to what they sound like together, you have the Mighty Palehead. So
20
I
years
think
of looking.
yeah, like 20 years. That's actually not even a joke. And it's on Wax Tracks. And this is just the 12-inch single of I Will Refuse, which a lot of people probably know from, I think it was Matt Hoffman BMX back in the day
I think so, yeah.
for the PS1. And no
That
one
song
was,
always pumps you up when you're playing that game too.
yeah, like it's just when the band drops because it starts off with kind of like the lead in. And as soon as Ian yells, I will refuse, and the band just starts going into like the Ministry thing, the man, my neighbors listened to this one when I got home with it. But man, so much effort put into it. Excuse me, and finally I get it. So I have to find the album now, which I think is called Trait, but I'm not 100%. But maybe another 20 years, it will turn up.
Nice. Yeah, when you're like 60 years old and you're going through the bins, it'll finally come around.
Hey, I'm still looking for Sam Haines and that Sam Hain or Sam Wan, depending on how we want to say it. Their album Initium, which is Danzig after the Misfits.
Yeah.
Man, I had one in my hand, but it belonged to this other guy I met, and I'm like, how much? Like, just basically name your price. And he was like, I've had this since high school. I can't sell this. So that's the one time that I had it in my hands, but one of these days. And that's the beauty of kind of collecting in the wild. I mean, and there is stuff that I do go online and just be like, I have to have it right now, you know. But and there's other ones that just you don't find in stores. Like I have the album by Population Control, which is a band out of Milwaukee, uh, coming in the mail. Should be in, I think, early next week. But I don't know. There's something about the thrill of the hunt. I don't know
Yeah.
about you.
Well, I like waiting on albums if I can because a lot of times they do come around, and it's more fun when they come around in a store or a garage sale or a record show or something like that.
Right.
And usually you pay less than if you just went to eBay because eBay you're gonna pay a an exorbitant amount of money because people know it's rare and people want it. So when it comes around, it's that much sweeter to get a deal and then also maybe talk to the guy who's selling it and his love of that band and there's a lot of fun fun times to be had with that kind of stuff.
Sorry, only jumping. But the thing that kills me about eBay is the shipping, especially to Canada,
Yeah,
because it's like $5 to the States, $45 to Canada.
yeah, yeah.
Holy
It's hard
fuck!
to
And
get
I
good deals.
was that?
It's hard to get good deals on eBay.
Yeah, and I mean, occasionally you do kind of have a bit of luck, but
It's actually funny. There's a guy from the UK who I've actually been buying a lot of records. It's usually like new stuff, sealed,
right.
new press. But like the shipping is free and the price is always pretty good. Like the Blink one I got off him, this one, and it was like 23 bucks, free shipping, sealed, brand new. Like I don't know, you can't beat that. The
You'll
only way
have
you
to
beat it is if you go into Cops and find it or something, right? But
yeah, you'll have to send me a link for that.
yeah, that guy has some good stuff.
Right. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that weekend of vinyl scores and Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I only got a few things. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't find anything else, but nothing really blew me away, and I didn't want to just buy stuff to buy stuff.
Right.
I used to do that. If I went to a record store, I'd buy something that I didn't really care about just because I might as well. I'm at a record store, but I don't know. I try to drift away from that, and
Right.
unless I really want it, then I'll just save my money for another record.
And that's the thing because your collection eventually builds up to being a bunch of like half-assed albums. You
And then
know?
you end up selling them for half of what you paid or
Yeah.
less, and
So like I was on that boat too, where I would go to like a secondhand shop and just pick up like every half decent album they had.
yeah.
And yeah, eventually I have like a bunch of X, but it's full of like junk.
Yeah.
You might spin it once or twice and then it just sits there. So it's nicer to prune it out and then get like a solid collection of good albums.
Yeah, I had my shelf pretty full for a while, and then I slowly over the last while I've sold them off, a lot of them and stuff, just because of stuff I never listened to. Like, how often am I gonna put on Toys in the Attic? I never would play that album or
I kept my toys in the attic, but hey,
uh, you know, I think I actually still have a copy because I had two. But a lot of these albums, like of the main rock stuff, like just generic kind of mainstream rock. It's like
yeah,
I'm probably gonna, if I do happen to listen to that, which I probably wouldn't these days, I'll probably just listen to it on Spotify. Do I really need a vinyl record of of these albums? So
I think that's kind of my attitude as well now, where like if it's just something I'll play a couple times, I'll play it online.
yeah,
And then if I really like the album and it's something that I think is like really great, I'll buy it so I have a physical copy for the years down the road. But I mean, there's no point of me owning, an album I'm gonna play twice.
yeah. I also like the idea of that, like someone could come and pull like any record off the shelf, and it'd be an album that I really dig or really like. You know,
Right.
pretty much any album they would pull off, I would be like, oh yeah, that album's great, and I love these songs on it. Instead of just having like the Guess Who and a Blue Rodeo album or something. So yeah, that album's okay.
Yeah. Well, with the Guess Who, just have like the greatest hits, and that's kind of what I've done, like with bands like the Who, where like I'll have like Quadrophenia, and then I just have like the greatest hits, because I don't want all the glut that was kind of in there.
I'm a bit opposite with Who. I got Who's Next. That's my favorite one, and the rest I think I sold off.
Max.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
That's a great album. I like that album.
It's
It's the only
terrible.
one of the Who I like, actually. The rest are kind
How?
of like I had Tommy, and I sold that, and
I don't like Tommy either. Like I don't get why it was a big thing.
By the Numbers.
Well, that's
Yeah.
later. Fuck that album.
What else? I had a bunch of them, and I just sold them because I was like, I never listened to these.
I have like Magic Bus on CD, but if you have like Meaty Beaty, Big and Bouncy, it's like the single hits, and basically that one and Quadrophenia, the only two Who albums I need. I'm sure we're gonna have comments now that people are like fucking die the Who rule.
Who are the
You know,
greatest?
but
There are actually a lot of people who are hardcore Who fans, and that's cool. But
yeah, hey, I'm a big Clash fan, and I can admit they have crap.
yeah, so I don't know. I guess that kind of wraps it up. Maybe we'll try to hit you up with another recent pickups in a little while when we
Right.
restock our shelves.
Yeah, but these days it's fewer and farther between when I go out on like a spree, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm trying to
But
build up more quality stuff. I
right.
could go and buy a bunch of $10 records that are half-assed, but like we just discussed, I don't really want to fill up my shelves with that kind of stuff. I just want to get stuff that I really.
And I feel like the hobby's kind of waned now anyway. Like I started collecting records back in the mid 90s solely because I couldn't afford CDs. And then I ended up amassing a pretty big collection. And then now, or a couple years ago, when vinyl kind of came back, people started to jump on the wagon. But I feel like people are starting to realize A, it's expensive. B, a lot of it you'll play a handful of times and just get rid of, so people move on.
I think that's the thing though. Like a lot of people realize, like once the novelty kind of wears off, they don't really care about it, right? Where I think because me and you grew up putting on records because they were cheap and that's why we were buying them back in like the 90s, that I don't know, like I still enjoy listening to records. It's like my preferred means. That novelty has never really worn off for me, I
Yeah,
guess.
like
It's
like I
always
enjoy it, but at the same time, I don't really want to fork out like $40 for a new release. You
yeah,
know?
but I do.
Yeah. Well, if it's something I really like, I would. But excuse me, it's got to be something special.
Yeah, well, there's certain bands that I'll buy their new album if it comes out. Not very many bands anymore these days, but there's definitely some that I'll buy it no matter what, pretty much. And
Strokes.
yeah, I'll buy the Strokes, even though their last album I wasn't, too big of a fan on. But or the Nationally, and that last album I bought like the deluxe, like triple disc. All of them are different colors and everything, and it was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It was like a movie soundtrack that they did, but I spent like $80 or $90 on that brand new.
Every now and again, you kind of have to break the bank on like something, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and there's bands like Bedouin Soundclash and stuff like that for me, where no matter what they put out, I'll pick up just because I'm kind of on that adventure with them as they go through. But
Well, I think being more picky with the records also helps you save money, and then you also have a collection of awesome records that you really love. So I think that's the better way to do it than just bulk buying a bunch of okay records. Just
right,
save your money, and buy that $40 record you really want. Buy that $30 record that you want. Instead of three $10 records that you don't really play or care about.
yeah, and you see a lot of people now at like the junk shops going through the bins, just pulling out like random shit. And I've been there too, but eventually you're gonna have a collection that's quite ugly of
Yeah.
stuff you're not gonna play.
I think
You
that's
know,
what people who start collecting, that's the mistake they make because they want to build up a collection and they don't necessarily care what albums they are. So, oh, there's a
right,
Stones album for $2. Oh, there's a Who album for $5. There's a Zeppelin for $10. And they just amass this stuff that maybe they don't even really care about just to have, a collax full of records or something, right?
right. Well, we've all been there.
No, we
And
all have. I think I
once
would
you get
just
older, it's
yeah.
really nice to kind of prune down the bonsai tree, you know?
Yeah, like if someone was new, that would probably be the advice I'd give them. I'd say, just buy what you really want. Don't worry about having cred because you have a shelf full of records because nobody cares. Just
Yeah,
buy what you're gonna play.
because I have like two K-Laxes full of records, and nobody gives me any respect. So
Exactly. No one cares how many records you have, right?
it's
So
the truth. So just buy and play what you like, just like I did, and like Mark did, and you
that's
know,
right.
find your band and then stick with it.
And then give them all your money.
That's right. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
That's it.
Thanks for
So
watching, everybody.
what's that?
So thanks for watching, everybody, and
Yeah, on this
hopefully,
fine Friday. Have a good weekend.
take it easy.